Oh, hey, hold on a sec. Hey, Az, how are you? Uh, this is like an ASMR type thing. Like, this is like that's like the wrong attitude for ASMR. Like smiling, like yeah. I'm like a sort of ASMR person, but I don't, not really. Oh, there's like another ASMR sound, like rubbing your pants. Okay, I'm gonna see if Tim was asking about playing guitar, so I was gonna try to. I don't know where he's at with guitar or um. Hold on a second. Start with the E chord. Do you play guitar, or do you play any instruments? As many moons ago. Did you play? Was that the only instrument you played, or did you? I don't know why I thought you played something, but I might be thinking of something else. Yes, it's William Grant. Thank you. Hey Tim, how are you doing tonight? This is all for you. I'm gonna try to teach you how to play guitar all tonight, and also try to make people fall asleep at the same time. Do you have any questions about guitar? I'll just start saying facts about the guitar. This is a guitar. Here, there are 6 strings. You kind of pull them in through here, and then wind them around these little knobs, and then you pull them to a certain, like, how do you make a guitar? I don't know how to make a guitar. Basically, the guitar is all these strings, and they're different sizes. So, like, the bigger ones have a lower sound, and the as you get like down, they have a higher sound because they're like smaller. And then you put your finger on these little metal things. These are called frets. And if you put your finger down, it like shortens the note, so it goes each fret is a half a step. Like if you're on a piano, you go up one key, including the black keys. Like, yeah, don't fret. My guitar background, I started playing guitar when I was like 16, I think. I remember when I was like 12 years old, my dad wanted me to play guitar because he played guitar, and I was like, no way. Like, I wanted to try to be a skateboarder, but I couldn't skateboard. I don't know why. I don't know why I was doing that, but I didn't want to play guitar then. And then when I was like 16, a lot of the people in my high school were getting into guitar, and one of my good friends got a guitar around the same time I did, and we were like, let's start a band. And we didn't know how to play anything, but we would like, it was like a little like electric guitar, like a Fender Squier guitar. So I would try to learn like all these like rock and roll songs in the 90s. And then I think what was helpful at that age was we didn't know how to play, and we would, like, one guy would learn one thing, and then another would learn another thing, and then we'd kind of teach each other. So like, if one guy learned like the G chord, then he'd teach the other guy. That's like kind of the main, one of the basic chords. The one thing I like about guitar is when I tell people if they don't play guitar, if they want to get into playing guitar, is one of the cool things about it is you can learn just like a handful of chords, and you can play a lot of songs, like a lot of songs you might know from the radio or wherever are usually not always, but like a lot of times they're really basic chords. You can usually go pretty far with not even having to learn a whole lot. Like I always think of like if guitar is like kindergarten through 12th grade, like you could learn like even just kindergarten or first grade level like guitar, and you could still play like a whole lot of songs. You know the strings but not the chords. Yeah. Did you fall from a skateboard? I didn't really skateboard much. I think I wanted to be like Marty McFly from Back to the Future, and I would fall. And I'm sorry, I didn't fall. I'm reading what you said. I would like stand in the driveway and like pretend like I was holding on the back of my dad's truck, and like I was like boarding behind it, and then I'd like kick the skateboard underneath the truck, and then like try to run over the top of the truck and get onto it before it didn't ever work. You know, like, you know what I'm talking about. Oh, you fell on your wrists, and that's when you were like, I guess it's time to become a filmmaker. I would be curious to hear how you got into filmmaking too. I knew then that they're my dreams of being a professional skater. How old were you when you wanted to be a professional skater? I'm sorry, I'm supposed to be talking about guitar. I think like when I think back about when I first started playing, I remember it took a long time. It was like getting used to the way that my fingers felt on the strings and everything. Like took a little while, and it was always like awkward. And then I was always scared about playing in front of people, and I would like, as I kept playing, I'd make one more friend, like each friend, I'd make a friend with someone who'd played guitar in front of people, and then like I'd get a little bit braver, and then somebody else would be playing in front of people, and I'm not a real good guitar player, but I write songs, so I know like enough to just write songs. Basically, I kind of just play basic chords mostly, and sometimes I do like the power chords. That's one thing you can do, like if you want to start like a punk band, you can just like learn the hold on, let me read what you said. You didn't want to get into filmmaking until 2 years ago? I'm trying to remember the chords to it. I know it's pretty simple, but I don't remember the chords to that right now. Hold on. I'll look it up on my phone. That was actually the senior song for my graduating class. Mm-hmm. This is the cool thing you can do also, like if you're wanting to learn songs, you can just find the chords on the internet. That's what I would do also when I first started. Oh wait. trying to remember the strumming pattern to this. It's like. Hey Chris, how you doing? Hey. Oh, thank you. I'm using the microphones I was using for my puzzles, like this one that like give you the ASMR tingles. Sorry. This is actually an instrument mic. I used it to kind of capture like the sounds of cubes. Way back when I was doing puzzle cubes for ASMR, but now I've moved on to playing music on. Yeah. Oh, it is. I don't know if if you said nice lows. There's actually on the back of this microphone. I don't know if you can see it. There's like this line. Wait. It's upside down. I don't think this is gonna make sense. Do you see this like kind of wavy line right here on the top? You can kind of like get a little pin and like move it up and down, and it changes the frequency of what it's picking up. I don't want to get it. I'm afraid if I move all this stuff, I won't be able to get it back. Do you see how it's kind of like wavy? You can like move the front part of it. You can move it down to where it's a flat line, and you can move. Whoa. You can kind of move these things around to where they're a little different. Yeah, it changes the frequency response. Like, I was listening to like a interview with this audio engineer from like NPR, and they were talking about how like whenever they do their microphone sound a little bit different, like on for their interviews and everything, and they said one of the secrets is they turn off the bass roll. They do the bass roll off, and then they turn like the high frequencies up higher, and so that's kind of what I did here. I did that for like my podcast I do, because I was wondering if that would make it sound nicer. But I was thinking the other day when I was doing like ASMR that probably if I had lower frequencies tuned in, then if I had it switched to the lower frequencies, then it would probably be better for relaxing people, kind of like the lower sounds. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah. What type of pickup does it have? Are you talking about the guitar? This guitar actually does have a pickup. It has a built-in pickup, but I don't have it plugged in. I'm just using this microphone to play, to catch the guitar. Do you have any questions about the guitar? Or you can ask other questions. I'm just trying to start with like a subject. Oh, this microphone, it's not omnidirectional. It's like it's the polar pattern that's like, and this is the same one. I have a shotgun mic somewhere. I don't know where it is. I don't need it right now, so I'm not using it. I've forgotten most of the sound recording stuff I learned last year. Did you like for film audio type stuff? Did you ever do when you were making like movies and stuff, did you ever have to do the audio and have to like hold the boom pole thing and all that? I never did that on any of the videos I had. We had some videos that I made with some friends. We got to a point where we were recording audio separately, and it just got more and more complicated. But we usually I had a little like Zoom recorder, and I just set it like just out of frame and try to record the sound there. Then I have to like email him my friend the audio file. Yeah, I would think it would be a workout. Yes. Guitar lesson, right. Do you guys know the G chord? This seems like the most basic chord. I don't know where you guys are at with your guitar, in your guitar journey, if you play. Do you know the chord, the notes that each of the strings is supposed to be? Az knows. I think Tim said he knows the strings. You know nothing. Here, I'll type them out so you can know. Hold on. This is not awkward. Okay. Yeah, so it's like E, A, D, G, B, and then like a high E. You know the strings but not the chords, okay. I think G is probably the most basic one. You put some people play it differently, but I usually put my middle finger like on the 3rd fret on the top string. I don't know if you can see this. It's like on this string right here, and then this pointer finger, I'll put it on the 2nd fret. And then my ring finger like down here. But sometimes people play it like with both of these fingers like on the bottom. Whenever this guitar, like when my arm will like stick to it, like it'll sweat and it'll stick to it. What's cool is if you learn the G shape, a lot of the songs, like the one I was just playing, if it has G in it, it's in the key, usually in the key of G. And one of the main chords that goes with with G is C. So you can like just go from that one, and you can do the same shape and just go down like. I play with a pick and without a pick. So that's G and then C. The C that they play on this Hope You Had the Time of Your Life or Good Riddance song is that C. So it's like G, C, and then it goes down to D, which is like a little different. Like, you're basically holding it's on the bottom 3 strings, and you're holding like put your middle finger on the bottom E string on the 2nd fret, and then your pointer finger on the 3rd from the bottom string, the D, on the 2nd fret on the same fret, and then put your ring finger like there. That's actually kind of, it's been a while since I learned this chord, but it's kind of an awkward thing. I think the ring finger and the pinky are a little awkward at first. Well, probably all the fingers are, but those are especially so because you're not used to, like, you might not be used to having to use them, like, you know. Okay, yeah, that's a good question. When you play the G chord, you are strumming all the strings. And then when you play the C, you're not playing the top string. Usually I'll put like my thumb on the top string so it'll kind of mute that one, but it'll still hit the rest. So I'll kind of like, and then when you play that D, it's actually you don't play the top two, and you don't have to mute them with your thumb. That's just the thing you can do, but you play the bottom 4 strings for the D. Thank you. I like this guitar too. And I don't know how I might be going too fast with these chords, but a lot of times if you do if you're playing those, that's like the key of G, and those are the main. Usually each key has about 7 chords in it, and it's like the root chord is like what key it is. Like the key of G, the main chord is G, and then it kind of goes up. Then there are like 7 altogether, including the G, and the 4th and 5th chord in that key are usually like the most common. So like for the key of G, it goes G, A minor, B minor, and then the 4th is C, and then the 5th is D. And so in a lot of music, the root chord and then the 4th and the 5th are like usually the main chords you're going to hear in the song. And then, I mean, there will be others, but those are kind of the most common. Like this song, Time of Your Life, is like G, G, C, D, G, G, C, D. And then it throws this other chord, the E minor, which E minor I like because it's easy, and it's just 2 fingers right here on the second string, the A. I usually put my pointer finger there, and then my ring finger like on the D. So it's like that's like a pretty, usually all the chord, if you're playing in like a normal key, usually there's kind of like a minors in there, like this is a G major, and then a C major, and then a D major, but within that key, the E is like a minor key, and then the A is a minor key, and yeah. The E minor is like this, those like what I just showed you, and then if you want to do like a E major, you put a finger down there, so it's, I don't know, you probably can't see that, but the minor keys usually, like or if you play a minor chord, usually you're moving just one of the fingers like down 1 fret. Like a D is this. You can't see this very well, but that's a regular D. And to play the minor, you actually just move the bottom string, you move it down 1 fret. So like it's like this kind of. That's a D minor. So like with the E major, it's this, and then to play the minor, you basically just, it's this string here, and you just kind of take that string off, take that finger off, and then so E major, E minor, E major, E minor. And in this Good Riddance song, the E minor is the key they play, so it's like, I'm not playing the right like strumming. Let's see, it's like down, down, up, up, down, up. I don't know. Strumming patterns, I probably should spend more time learning them, but I don't. I just do whatever. I just try to play it. If it sounds right, then I'll be like, okay, that's fine. So it kind of, you might not be as sloppy as me. If you start playing, you may try to be more proficient and perfect in the way you play. I don't know. Yeah, I actually like playing sloppier. It's usually more fun. And here's the thing too, like we talked about the G, and then like if you were in a punk band, you probably wouldn't play, well, unless you're Green Day. In most of their songs they play power chords, but on this song they play like open chords, and it's makes it sound like it's more like, wow, they're really like breaking it down, like they're really like, this is like them just being themselves or whatever. Not really, but you know what I mean. But then the power chords, like a lot of the punk type music, if they were playing a G, they would put their top finger on the same fret there. This is the G note, this top one here, the third fret, and then they would just use they'd play these bar chords, like use their maybe ring finger. Sometimes they'll use their pinky or whatever and go down like, I keep wondering if y'all can even see this, but finger there, and then like go down 2 frets on the next string down, and then you kind of just hold like the second, third, and fourth down, and it kind of makes it more of a, that's probably too loud. I'll play power chords with my thumb to make it not too loud. So if you're playing, and what's cool about power chords is they're easy it's an easy shape to make. Like if you're just starting to play guitar, it's fun to play power chords because you can just throw them on there, and it's like G, and then you go down 1 fret or 1 string and with the same shape, and that's a C, and then if you go up 2 from the C, that's the D. So you can do like if you wanted to play the Time of Your Life with power chords, you could be like G, G, C, D, G, G, C, D. Kind of like that. You wouldn't want to play that song that way because people want it to sound like all open. People like it with the open chords. What's cool about if you learn the power chords is you can kind of like it helps you learn like what the notes are. So like a power chord at the very back, very end of the string, if you take that G power chord and you go down to here where like basically your finger is like the nut of this thing, that's a E power chord. So it's like E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, and then the 12th fret is an E again. It's like a high E. But that's like a way like to remember kind of what the note is on each string. And that's just like a piano. But one thing you'll notice is there's a E, and there's not like a E sharp. There's a like E sharp. E one up one half step is an F. So there's not a E sharp. And then there's not a B sharp. B sharp is a C. There was like a old Simpsons episode, I think, where Homer was in like a barbershop quartet and they were named the B sharps, and it was like a joke because of B sharp. If you're like a music person, you're like, haha, B sharp isn't really even a thing because the B sharp is a C. But yeah, if you look on a piano, I feel like I'm explaining stuff that some of you might already know. Some of this stuff some of you might already know. Some of this might not make any kind of sense. Hold on one second. I have a little keyboard. I can show you what I'm talking about. This is more involved than I was expecting it to be, but that's good, I guess. If y'all are getting something out of it. Hold on a second. Okay. Whoa. Sorry, that was really loud. Hope you didn't have earbuds in for that. I'm trying to decide if I should turn this on. How loud is it? I'll turn it down a little bit. This little keyboard, like I'll kind of explain what I'm talking about. See how there's like white? This is crazy. Okay, see how there's like white keys and black keys? This is a C. See how there's like in between some of the white keys, there's not a black key? And then some of the black keys are basically the sharps and the flats, and the white keys are just the regular notes. So like, I'm playing this upside down. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then C again. So on this it's like C, C sharp. Is this helpful? I don't even know. I'm trying to explain like just the way, if you understand kind of like how it's laid out on the keyboard, it makes a little more sense about how it's laid out on the piano. I mean on the guitar. If you play a C chord, this is really weird, playing it upside down. You put your finger on the C note as like the root note, and then you go up C, you go 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. So C, half step, half step. Okay, hold on. C, half step, half step, half step, half step. That's the second note in the chord. So it's C, and then this note, which is E. And then Then you go up to this note, which is like half step, half step, half step. There's something where like you're supposed to remember like how many half steps you go up to get to the next note in the chord, but I can't remember what those are. But I know when you play a C, it's a combination of a C note, an E note, and then a G note, I guess. I don't usually think of them this way, but if you break them down, it's C, E, and G. Okay, so now we'll move it back to the guitar. And it's kind of the same thing, like you build the chords out of the individual notes. So if a C is made up of a C note, a E note, and a G note, then if you're playing the C, we start on the second fret, the second string, which is A. This one here, A sharp, B, C. So this third string is a C note, and then so that's one of the notes we'll use in the chord, and then we'll go to the third string down, or from the top. So E, A, D. D is the second or the third one, and so you're gonna go D, D sharp, E, and that's one of the three notes from the key of C. So you know those two are part of the chord, and then you go down. Let's see, C, and then I don't usually think about it this way. I'm trying to wrap my mind around it myself. And then the fourth string is E, A, D, G. The fourth string is G, and that is one of the three notes in the chord of C, so you can keep it so like C, E, G. So those are like the three notes that we played on the keyboard that make the C chord, and then you kind of keep going down. The B is the second to the bottom string, and you put your finger on you go up one half step there, and it goes to a C, and so that can go into this chord, and then the bottom string is an E, so that can go back in. So it's like you're basically strumming C, E, G, C, E. That's what a C chord is, like when you play it on a guitar. And that's how all the chords are built on a guitar. If you're playing hold on, okay. Like going back to the E minor thing. Try to learn how to play this like this way. So a C chord is like that, and if you want to turn the C into a C minor, you actually just take this middle. You take the middle. This is really hard to play upside down like that. Basically, you take the middle finger and you move it down one half step. So when you're making the chord on the keyboard, it's the root note plus go half a step, half a step, half a step, half a step to get to the normal key. But you do it one less half a step up to get to the minor. This feels like I feel like I'm saying this in a confusing way. There's probably a clearer way to. So that's a C, and then to do the minor, you just move the middle one down half a step. So if you're playing a chord on a piano, like if you're playing the G chord, if you want to play a G minor, you would just take the middle note and just go down one key. What? This is easier, like if I'm playing the right way. Anyway. So keep that in mind, like if you're playing, like when I was saying how the E major is like this, and then for the minor, you just take the finger off to play an E minor. So you just kind of take one of the notes just goes down half a step. Or if you're playing the D, and then you want to make a D minor, you would just take basically the bottom string just goes down half a step, D, and then D minor. I'm just trying to explain kind of the basics of this stuff, so I think it makes a little more sense if you know how the chords are built. Like I'll say this, like I probably didn't know any of this stuff for like the first 10 years of when I was playing guitar, so you can know how to play music without knowing all this stuff. Trying to think do y'all have questions, or is this making any sense? I was kind of I didn't know how this was gonna go. I thought it sounded fun to try to explain it a little bit. I know Tim had asked the other day. I think you were kind of joking, but you said something about you wanted to learn how to play guitar, or I don't know. One thing I've learned about like playing instruments is I know it helps, like if you have like people, maybe friends who also play, or just if it's in kind of your group. I remember when I was starting to play, I was like a youth group, and we would play, you'd have like somebody who was playing a little bit, and then you'd kind of learn together. And I think that was a good way to learn. You're missing your B string. That's okay. What you could do if you don't have a B string is play your power chords. Because you don't need the B string for those. Exactly, take up the bass. That's okay. Here, we'll say this. If you might know this already, Tim, but the bass is actually usually the bass is just the top 4 notes of it's like a guitar with only the top 4 notes. So you wouldn't need the bass. And if you learn how to play a little bit of guitar, usually you can play a little bit of the bass. Though the bass is more, if you want it to sound good, it can get really complicated. And I have a bass. I'm not very good at bass, but yeah, you could learn power chords. One thing that's fun is like if there's any like punk music you like, a lot of them play with power chords. I mean, they'll be like that's a pretty common chord progression. You want to see the bass? Yeah. I think it's right over there. It's probably out of tune, but I can tune it real fast. Um, I mainly play guitar, and I mainly play basic chords on a guitar. I can play like a little bit of bass, but I and I can play a little bit of keyboards. But I actually would like to learn how to play keyboards a little bit better. I'd like to be a lot better with it, but it takes. I think what I need to do is just try to just dedicate time to it, basically. Obviously, but I had like a few weeks ago. I was like trying to spend like about 15 minutes every day, like playing the keyboard, just to get more familiar with it. I think a lot of it is like you pick up the instrument and it just feels awkward. And I would recommend if you have a tuner, these kind of tuners are helpful. Like they just clip on the end of the guitar or bass or whatever. When I first started playing guitar, we didn't have these type that kind of pick up the note by the like vibrations. Like you had to like have the little tiny ones like on your knee with like a speaker built into it, and this can be kind of awkward. Yeah, it just takes time, and I think a lot of it too is if you're having fun doing it. I think fun is a big factor in it. I think sometimes if you're like taking lessons and they're real formal and you can kind of sometimes the lessons can be real formal to where it's hard to connect to it. But I think the part that makes it really fun is when you can kind of put your own personality into it, or like learn songs that you enjoy like yourself. What's that clamp thing people will put on the strings? It's called a capo. Basically what it does is it kind of like if this is the end of the bridge, I guess, the nut there. You know how we were talking about like how you move up the fretboard, or basically you would, if you're on a guitar, you could put a fret or put the capo like on the 3rd fret like that, and then you could play the same chord shapes with your hand, like the G. Like if I was playing like a G, I know this is a bass, so you don't really play chords as much like this. If your song was in like the key of A, then you could put it on the 2nd fret, and then you're playing like the shape of your fingers, or the like G, but it's a A. It's kind of a way to play different keys without having to learn new chords, sort of. That's like a Vampire Weekend song. That's like their new. But you play it on guitar. I'm running out of strings. This is like an acoustic bass, so it's a little different than your typical bass. They're pretty fun to play. Here, I'll try to see what Time of Your Life sounds like on bass. Do you know that this is one of the first things I ever learned how to play, and it's pretty simple. I don't know if you know this song. It's kind of an old song now, but it's And it's a weird song. Like the lyrics are a little strange, but I'm trying to remember the name of the band. The Violent Femmes. It's like when I'm a walking, I strut my stuff. But it's actually just like the top string, and then your finger on the fourth and fifth. It's just like dun 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 dun. Let me go. I don't know the chords. You can also play that like a. I don't know what key that's in. Something like that. That's like a Pixies song. Usually when people play bass, like a lot of the real bass players, they don't use a pick. They'll just play with their like fingers, like. But I don't play bass very often. I got this thing because with my songs, like usually they're just guitar and vocals, and it seemed pretty boring, and the bass always adds like a nice feel to it. You know, it adds a deeper sound to it. So it was helpful. I feel like I'm just rambling about this stuff now. Do y'all have any questions? August Rush. No. I think, is that by the people that made the other... What's the other movie that's like that? I think I saw the other one. With Glenn Hassard was in it. He was like a busker once, I think is what it's called. Is August Rush made by the same people? I don't know why y'all would know that, but it's like a... Is that the one with... Mark Ruffalo? Am I thinking of the same thing? Mark Buffalo, yeah. It's got that one guy in it who I can't remember his name. Played Norman Bates. Oh, the kid? Wait. Played Norman Bates in that show. Oh, okay. I'm thinking of a different movie than what you're thinking of. The thing, yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to remember his name too. I know who you're talking about now. He has that show on like ABC. Anyway, he was amazing. He would play the guitar by slapping his... Oh, okay. If you can, I always really like it when someone can play the bass really well. Like it really adds to the feel of a song. Like a really nice bass line can really make a like okay song sound really cool. And I have not put enough time into the bass to learn good bass lines. Bass is really fun. It's just the you don't usually play chords. It's more just the notes. Can you play by ear? Not really. I'm not very good at that. It's kind of I wish I could. I started playing guitar kind of like when I was like 16, so I didn't have a lot of, I don't know. I think music, I still can't tune my guitar by ear, which I feel like I should be able to do that, but I can't. Yeah, that makes sense. There used to be a thing, I don't know if, I guess, are dial tones still a thing? I don't know why I think it's, I remember people used to pick up their phones back when like landline days, and the dial tone was supposedly like an F. So some people, they would tune their guitar by the, like the F is just like, the E is the open string, and then you go up half a fret or one fret to F, so they just tune to that, to the dial tone. Yeah, I always thought that was cool. I always wondered if people really did that. Do they still have dial tones? I don't know why I don't notice them as much if they still have them. I guess they do. Okay, I want to set this down. You're asking what my like songwriting process is. Usually, whoops. I'm trying to think. A lot of the songs that I write are usually I usually write the lyrics first. Usually, like the lyrics will come and have like a melody, sort of like a vocal melody to them. And usually I'll have like a notebook and I'll write the words with the chords. Or sometimes I don't have chords. Usually I'll pick up a guitar, or I got this little guitar the other day. Like it's like a ukulele type guitar. This guitar is actually the same as the regular acoustic. If you put a capo on the fifth fret of that thing, it actually plays the same as that. But it sounds like a ukulele kind of. It might be out of tune. Let me tune it real fast. Yeah, it's like a little... It's pretty fun to play. See, with this one, like I mentioned, the capo, like when you move the capo up the guitar, you can play the same chords. So if I play the G shape on this guitar, it's actually a C. So that the G is a C, the C shape is a F, and then a D shape on this guitar is a G. So it's a little different. But it's fun to... I got it kind of because it's... At first I thought it would just be fun to play, and I like the idea of just a little guitar I could just like grab. Yeah, I tried to play... I knew the chords to Somewhere Over the Rainbow... Somewhere. Hold on. I don't have a banjo. I wouldn't mind like learning how to play a banjo. bluegrass. Oh. My favorite song to play is usually whatever the newest song I wrote, if I can remember how to play it. I have two songs here I could maybe play. Do y'all want to hear a song about Nashville? I wrote this song about when I lived in Nashville. Like, I lived there for like 6.5 years, like writing songs and stuff. And I would, like, after I moved back to Texas, where I live now, I would have these recurring dreams where I was like back there, like in Nashville. And so, like, one day I woke up and I wrote the song. And it's one of those things where, like, I think it's kind of a... It's almost like it sounds too sad. It sounds more sad than I want it to sound, but... It's about, like, having a dream and, like... Anyway, I'll sing it. It's called Nashville Dream. And I usually play it on a regular guitar, so hopefully I'll get the chords right. Dream in Nashville at least once a week. I'll have a flight back, but I won't want to leave. I will be walking on some old street. I dream in Nashville at least once a week. I'm always at some goofy coffee shop, hearing a buddy made it to the top. He's now the boss of somewhere I used to mop. I dream in Nashville and I don't wanna stop, but always wake up and it's just me driving to work, can't eat for free. Still got this song, it seems to mean you live a life, just a dream, a dream. I like it here, but it's just so plain. It's all just traffic and being the same. All of my family's here and that's great. Dreaming in Nashville is how I medicate. Sometimes I wish I could be torn in half, or have two houses and a car with gas. I could eat pancakes and still see my dad. Dreaming in Nashville always makes me sad, but I always wake up and it's just me driving to work, can't eat for free. Still got this song, and it seems to me you live a life, just a dream, a dream. Man, people love a sentimental jam that skips the stories they won't tell their fam. What if the whole time I was really on the lam, and this dream in Nashville was all a big sham? No, I'm just saying it was not all kush. Don't want this song to suffocate in mush. I try to block out when it kicked my tush. Some dreams in Nashville I am trying to shush, but I always wake up and it's just me driving to work, can't eat for free. Still got this song, and it seems to mean you live a life, just a dream, a dream. That's about Nashville, living in Nashville. Cool. Thank you. Thanks, guys. This one's called Saint or Criminal. Okay, I haven't played these in a little while, so I'm trying to make sure I remember them. If you could rocket to the moon and leave these problems in a Zoom, would you offer any kind of help? Would the rear view mirror kiss and tell if all you did was visible? Would you be a saint or criminal if you could edit your time? What would you make of your life? just another nothing day? Or is it something that could change the world? Is staring right at you every second, every choice is new. If all you did was visible, would you be a saint or criminal? If you could edit your time, what would you make of your life? Can't take it back, can't take it back, but I'm sorry. Can't take it back, can't take it back, but I'm sorry. Who of us could judge? Who of us is above weakness? Who of us could judge? Who of us is above weakness? If all you did was visible, would you be a saint or criminal? If you could edit your time, what would you make of your life? What is that? A squid? What is that? I'm trying to look at this. Oh, it's... Now, are you on the Spotify? These two songs are on a album. If you scroll down, I don't know where you're watching this. Probably on a phone or something. On my Twitch page, I put a link to one of my albums. It's called Other Songs, and both of those songs are on that album, and they're on Spotify. The first song is called Nashville Dream, and then that one was called Saint or Criminal. And I'll sing this other one that's called, it's called The Dissolver. This is one, like, I was thinking about I was actually watching, this might be too much information to give, I don't know. I was wanting to, I was thinking about, like, Japan. I've never been to Japan, but I was watching all these, like, YouTube videos. They have these videos where people just walk around in different cities, and there's one where they're walking around, like, Tokyo, and I would just, like, watch the video and, like, kind of zone out and imagine I was walking down these, like, faraway streets. And I was thinking about, you know, like when you're, like, in your day and you kind of, like, this might be a weird thing to say, like, you kind of, like, disconnect from people a little bit, and you're just, like, you kind of just drift off, like, daydream type thing. I was like, what if that was, like, a superpower? Like, if being, like, disconnected from everybody, like, what if it was, like, a superpower? And so I was gonna write this song that was about, like, being able to disconnect as if it was, like, a special ability. called the Dissolver. I don't play these songs very often, so I always want to make sure I'm singing them right or playing the right chords. Never told you about my secret power. I can dissipate and fly when sour. I get invisible whenever I want, like a ghost, though I never haunt. I like to sneak and float above the city. I leave the ugly and only seek the pretty. I weigh zero when I'm just a spirit, and any sound I make nobody can hear it. Wake up, goodbye, I've gone to fly. Wake up, goodbye, I've gone to fly. Some nights I just drift with the lights. I pick a color and zombie to the bright. I could switch it any little second, just a blink and I'm disconnected. With this power comes no responsibility, but to sink and drink in the tranquility. There's no downside, all of it is good. Wouldn't you wanna float away if you could? Wake up, goodbye, I've gone to fly. Wake up, goodbye, I've gone to fly. This sounds out of tune, or I'm just playing it badly. Trying to decide, okay, what should I do? Should I, if y'all are still there, should I play more songs, or should I, do you want to learn more stuff about playing guitar? Twitch notifications. Okay, what is that? I did on this, on the other streams I've done recently, I did like the ASMR tag, but I didn't feel like doing that this time. I feel like I drag in a bunch of people who are not, maybe they want ASMR more than this type of thing. I don't know. Sorry, I don't totally know what that means. Twitch notifications. Someone can explain it to me in a minute. Yeah, I'm trying to decide if I should. I don't know if I want to do this too much later because I probably need to go to sleep, and maybe some of you might need to go to sleep. Am I keeping any of you awake that need to go to sleep? Oh, so when someone donates, whoa, are people really donating it? That'd be kind of nice. I'm trying to remember how to do that. It's been a while since I edited these things. I'd probably need to do that. I probably need to do it like not now, but between this stream and the next stream. It's kind of like, it's funny. Like I did a bunch of, like a few months ago, I started streaming, and I did there'd be like no people watching it, and then then after about like 20 minutes, like one person would show up, and I'd try to talk to him, but I didn't really know him, so it was mainly this one guy that would watch that I kind of became friends with. But it's more fun when there are people that you kind of know. Like I know you guys, so it's fun to kind of visit, sort of. I'm trying to think if I should play more instruments, or I could solve this cube thing. When you say you like listening. Do you like listening when there's now you're meeting strangers in real life? Did you guys watch that the stream, the video from that the other night? That was actually really, really cool. Like, if you don't know what I'm talking about, we had some people from this like Nanoland group that I'm assuming all of y'all are in that are watching this. We realized that 4 of us guys like live in the DFW, Texas area, and we were like, let's meet up and like eat pizza together. So we decided on a place, and then we like Saturday night, like at 6 o'clock, or Saturday afternoon, whatever, we met up and at this place in like Arlington, which was kind of like in the middle of everybody. It was really actually kind of cool because I got there like about 10 minutes early, and I'm like, I think Steve, the guy Steve that's in the Nanoland Discord, like I've talked to him more, like I talked to him quite a bit, I guess, but then the other 2 guys, I think they had been on Shauna's stream, but they hadn't been on the Discord maybe, so they joined like the last minute, so I didn't really know anything about them. Steve had said that he was going to have like a gray bag with him, so I'm like sitting in my car, like, I mean, it kind of feels funny because a part of me is like, is anyone going to be at this thing? Like, is this should I have just stayed home? And then I'm like, because it was like about 40 minutes away from where I live, and now I was kind of nervous because I'm like, what if like what if I meet these people and they end up being like kind of like jerks in real life? Like, it's just kind of whatever. I was kind of thinking about that type of thing. We haven't scheduled a second meetup. Steve was mentioning the other day that we should do a taco, like meetup for tacos or something, which would be kind of cool. Anyway, like when I walked in, I was sitting in my car, and I looked over, and I saw this guy like stand up really fast and then run inside, and I noticed he had this like giant gray backpack or bag, and I was like, I think that's Steve. And so like I just like walked in. I was like, it's now or never, Jeff. Just go in and just try to meet him. And then he's like standing at this table like right by the door, and I'm like, it was I think the weirdest part of this whole thing was like right before it feels really funny to just go up to some person and be like, are you on this Discord thing? Are you on? It's like really I was worried I was gonna be like talking to somebody who had no idea what I was talking about, you know. But I thought it pretty. I was like, "Are you Steve?" And he goes, "Yes." Are you on the Discord? Yeah, yeah. Are you okay? I'm Jeff. Okay, go. Oh, okay, cool. And then like shook hands, and then it was. I think we were both relieved. Like, okay, cool. We've like found like one of the guys, and we were kind of. It was kind of a funny thing because you don't. I didn't know what he looked like. I know like in his picture on Discord, it's like kind of a drawn picture. It looks like it might be from like an anime or something. That would have been hilarious if y'all showed up, but never had the courage. We were joking about that actually, because it was just so strange because it was like he and I were talking, and I think we were both like nervous and kind of like, wow, we actually met each other. This is weird. Like it was when I was driving to the place, I felt like I was like breaking through like reality. Like I was like, I know these people I talked to on Discord. I know they're real people, but they're almost like imaginary in a way, you know, because I don't know them in that way. So it was funny to like just actually be able to interact with them in real life like a normal person. And so we were talking for a second, and then like this other guy walked in, and it was like this thing where you're sitting there talking to somebody, and then you look over and some guy walks in and he's by himself, and you're like you were all by yourself when you came in, and he first like acted like he was just going into the line, and then he kind of looked at us, and we were like looking at each other like. I was like, I hope this is one of the people because we're giving him some funny looks, and it was just like are you a Nanoland person? And they're like, yes. Who are you? Okay, and then after you kind of break the ice, he'd come and join us. Then it was 3, and we were all like, wow, we did it. We showed up here. We're so how exciting. And then we were like, do you think the other guy will show up? And then like there was a few minutes of like he wasn't there yet, and we were just kind of like relieved that there were 3 of us, and we were like, this might be it, like, you know. And then suddenly like this 4th guy walks in, he's like giving us the weird looks, and we're like, are you are you this person from this Discord? So he came over, and we're kind of like introducing our each other by our real names, like my name is my real name, which is kind of obvious, but I knew Steve's real name, and then the other guys, we kind of exchanged our real names, which was funny. And then we just ordered pizza and sat and talked. I think I was worried that we were gonna I was kind of worried like it was like we'd say yeah, I've been joking that my name is actually William. I just like the idea of being like Jeff Grant for real, like, and then it's actually not my actual name. That's the kind of thing that's funny to me. Anyway, I thought we would talk for. I thought it was just gonna be like, how did you find Shauna? And we actually, that was one of the first things we were talking about was like, how did you find her or whatever? And then like, I think I realized that I think I'm in the minority of people who found her first on Twitch, because I didn't know her from YouTube really. I think Ryan, who was the other guy that was like older, I think he said he had found her on Twitch first too. but Steve and Matt, they were both like younger guys. They had known her from YouTube for like a long time. Some people think my name really is William. I was wondering. I, it's funny that people. If y'all want to think that my name is William, it doesn't really bother me that much. You were never subscribed to her or seen her other videos other than Sale. Yeah, that was actually a weird, like, I don't think, I hadn't heard of her. I was like, I don't even know if I think I got on Twitch even like, I think I first got on Twitch like in 2018, like last year. Like the whole Twitch thing was still new to me. And I'm like, I would go and watch people play video games I was familiar with, and I hadn't, I wasn't really watching a lot of videos of people who weren't playing video games. And I think one night I just got sick of like Fortnite stuff. So I was like looking through the, I don't remember, like the chat, people just talking to the camera or whatever. And I think she was doing her like stream for like Halloween. It was like a really long, like a 12-hour stream or something. And I was like, I watched it, and I think she was doing some skit or something. And I was like, what in the world? This is crazy. Like, she looked like really tired. Like, I think it was like the 11th hour of this thing. And I remember just being like, what is happening? I think at that point I was used to watching people who had like 1,000 people watching them, or 2,000 people, or like way higher. And I think she had like about 70 or 80, which is still pretty good. Like, but then she was like, like how she interacts with everybody. And I think it took me a minute, and I was just like, oh, she actually like seems like she knows a lot of these people. Like, this is weird. And then yeah, it felt like a little group of people. And then and I was like I scrolled down on her page and saw that it was like, I have some YouTube videos here or whatever. And I looked at the YouTube thing, or I looked on YouTube, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, this girl's like has so many videos. It was kind of crazy. And then like a few weeks later, I think, because I was like, I like watching her videos. She seems like really nice and cool, like, and funny, and it's kind of, it's like just a different. It's a kind of a positive sort of thing on the internet, which seems rare. And then she kept talking about the Discord, and so then I finally was like, I should try that, even though I didn't know what Discord was at the time, or I'd heard of it, but I didn't know what it. I had to like learn it as I went, and now I'm on it like probably too much. Were you guys on the 12-hour extravaganza? As I feel like you were, because you're usually on. I feel like I remember hearing your name, maybe. I would be curious to. I know as like because the Discord server is. I think I heard it was originally your server. Or something. I was always wondering, since I'm kind of like a late person coming into the Discord, I was like wondering the chronology of like how all that happened. You were there the whole time? Wow. Oh, that was this long stream was like a thing that y'all were like building up to. I do remember like that night I was like I want to follow this person cuz she seems like cool, and also I remember I think I typed in the chat like I hope you go to sleep soon cuz she seemed like so tired. And I think she responded to it, and I was like, whoa, that's weird. I've never had somebody respond to me in a chat. Though I don't think I'd ever typed in a chat before, maybe. Oh, okay. Patreon goal. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to think of, do y'all need to go to sleep? I'm just kind of here now. Did any of that guitar stuff make any sense? Like, part of the times when I was talking, I felt like it might make sense, and part of the time, I felt like it was like, no. Thank you, Tim. I am too. It's really been a surprising thing, like to me, for me, like, I don't know. Everyone's really nice, and it's nice to have just people to kind of just go chat with whenever you just get bored or don't have anything going on. You're not allowed to leave. Yeah, I understand, Tim. Like, it kind of makes, I don't know. I think learning any instrument, it's almost like you just have to kind of make a mess with it and not be too precious about it, and just spend time with the instrument, kind of getting used to it. And you might have a different style of playing than I do, or as anybody else. It's one thing I like about guitar is it's kind of like if you're getting like stressed out, or you just kind of need to chill out, you can kind of pick up the guitar and just strum a little bit, and kind of can help ease some of that sometimes. It took me a long time. I've been playing guitar for probably 20 years now. And it took me probably a few years, probably a couple years before I even wanted to play in front of anybody, and then I would still be kind of nervous about it. I'll do this by the microphone so it sounds like ASMR. I think I told you, Tim, the other day, because you'd sent me some links with some ASMR stuff, and I watched some. And at first, I think the first one I was watching was I was watching it on my phone, and I didn't have earbuds, and I think it works better like on earbuds. And I realized like I think one thing that throws me off about ASMR is that a lot of ASMR, like on YouTube or whatever, it's some girl, and she got like all her makeup on, and usually it's like she'll be really good at the sound part, but I'm like, the visual of it is like making it hard to just zone out or whatever. But I noticed that if I had like earbuds or nice headphones, And if I just like scrolled down where I couldn't even watch her do I think the seeing somebody like watching a video of someone going like does not, it's just strange. Like I can't relax or whatever. Yeah, the ones where they have like two microphones and they kind of go from one to the other. I could pan these, I think. It would take a minute. I don't want to get into all that right now. See this? Microphones are pretty fun. I like how different microphones are good for different sounds. This thing's really better for talking into. This one kind of picks this one down here kind of picks up more of the intricate type sounds. Which one did you post? I think I watched part of both of the ones you post, but you may have posted another since then. There was one that I think it was one you posted where it was like this girl had a microphone and she had like a fork and she was like scraping the microphone kind of thing. And that was one I just like listened to, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Like I kind of get this now. I was trying to decide if I was gonna the other day. GB, how do you say it? It's kind of like, for me, like I'm happy that I'm using these microphones for something because like I got them all to record music, and I'll go for like long stretches of time where I won't record anything. So I'll have these microphones that I spent good money on and they're just sitting there. So now I can like use them to record or pick up myself doing a puzzle or whatever. But yeah, the other day I did one stream where I did all these like puzzle cube things, and then I was trying to think of something to do, and I decided to do some actual puzzles like on the table. And I did a couple like 100-piece puzzles, and then they went pretty quickly. They weren't too bad, so I was like, I'll do a stream where I'll do a 300-piece or a 500-piece. Like I had people voting. There weren't very many people there, so I don't remember. I think I had to make the decision before anybody showed up. I decided to do the 300 because I liked the picture better, and also I thought with less pieces it would be easier. So I did the 300-piece puzzle, and it took forever to do it. I kind of that one kind of almost. I think that kind of broke me a little bit. I was started the thing and I was like, I thought, oh, this stream will be like 2 hours, and I'll finish the puzzle and I can just go to sleep, whatever. And then like got started on it, and it was just taking longer and longer and longer, and I was getting like discouraged. But at the same time, I was like, I don't want to have to come back and do this again. Like I want to get it over with. So I just kept grinding through it, and like all the people left, it would like dwindle down to like, I think there was like one person for like a really long time. I don't even know if it was anybody I knew, because no one was really saying anything. But I was just sitting there like, I'm just gonna keep doing this puzzle. And then like, right before I got to the end, like Barbecue Head showed up, so I was talking to him for a little while. He was asking me like, because the puzzle was like a picture of this like lake, and he was like, where is that? And I was like, oh, I don't know. And I looked on the box and it had the name of the lake, and it was like a lake in Canada at a park somewhere. The box is over there. I'm not sure if I want to get up to look at it to figure out what the lake was called. Okay. Now I need it, since you are Canadian, so I feel like I should look at this now. I'm gonna find out for you. I can't wait to not know. Okay, this is the picture. And it says Lake Moraine. Moraine. Oh, have you been there? It looks awesome. This puzzle took me forever. I think I finished it. I think it took about 4 hours. Which is, it's not that bad if like, oh wait, I heard this is the place to be. Scruffy? Who's this? This might be the place to be if you want to like go to sleep and just chit chat. Oh, you've been to that park? That's awesome. I'm in the stream, but I see the place photographed all the time. Oh, really? I'm sorry, I didn't notice there was somebody coming in. Oh, okay, y'all, we know him. Bort, are you? Oh, I think I know who you are. Okay, cool. Awesome. Thanks for coming by. I don't know what's happened. We started the stream as like I was giving Tim and Az like a guitar lessons, sort of. And I felt like I was confusing them with the information I was giving them, but we did that for a little while, and then we played a few songs, and then now we're just kind of talking and oh, okay, so you're pretty new to Shauna's group. Thanks, Tim, that's nice. Well, I wasn't trying to teach any specific songs. I was kind of just trying to teach Tim some chords a little bit. Do you play any instruments, Scruffy or Bort? I don't know what. I don't even know if either of those is your real name. Does it matter? Who cares about real names anymore? We played a little bit of "Time of Your Life" or "Good Riddance," the the Green Day song. Cool. Oh, you play drums now? That's good. That's neat. I'm not very good at drums. I don't have very good rhythm. I wish I had better rhythm. Every time I play guitar or try to play drums, it's like I get off beat pretty fast. Yeah, I think as long as you're having a good time, then it worked. That's the whole point. Do you play a lot of music? I'm trying to decide how long I should do this stream. Every time I do this, I've noticed I go like longer than I'm think I'm gonna go. Yeah, it is an expensive hobby. Oh, that's cool. I was never in a punk band, but I always thought a punk band would be fun to be in. Rock Band, the video game. That game, like, it makes me feel funny because like I can play like songs like normally on like a guitar. I mean, not like real fancy guitar songs, but normal songs. And then when I try to play that game, it's like I'm bad at it. Tim, you could be bad at the game and be really good at real drums. I know. It's kind of funny. I think a lot of the people who play the game probably don't play real instruments, but they might be really good at the game, so they might think they're good. They could be good at the instruments. Maybe they are. I wonder if very many people get into playing music like through the game, through playing the Rock Band game and that kind of thing. Everybody you know that's an actual musician hates the game. It's funny. I'm not like dropping any frames. I hope. I don't stream very often, I used to. What sort of guitar am I rocking? I was playing like this acoustic. And then I had this other little acoustic. This is actually called a gutu-lele. It's like a ukulele, but it has 6 strings instead of 4. And it just looked like a fun little instrument. It's actually the chords are the same as if you put a capo on the 5th fret of a guitar. It plays like those. Yeah, it's kind of a rare thing. Here, I'm gonna type it because it's weird. This is how you spell it. Wait. it plays like it almost plays like a classical guitar because the strings are like a little softer. I mean, they're like kind of like strings that you'd play on a ukulele instead of like the steel strings that are on like a regular acoustic. So it plays a little bit different, or it sounds a little bit different. It plays the same. Like one of the songs I sang, I actually wrote it on probably this guitar, but it had the capo on the 5th fret on this guitar, so when I played on that guitar, it matched up. I didn't have to learn any new chords. Yeah, it's kind of like lighter gauge string sort of, but I don't know if you've played a classical guitar where the strings are like nylon. They're kind of like this plastic type thing, and it's fun to play those type of guitars just because I don't know, it just sounds a little different, feels a little different. Yeah, and I had a acoustic bass that I was playing too. If you like, this might be like a little more than you're wanting to do anyway, but if you play guitar, if you're trying to learn how to play your acoustic guitar, I think is what you have. If you get like a lot of calluses and stuff, yeah, if you get like one of these classical style guitars that are with the nylon strings, they're a lot softer on your fingers. That I know it's kind of a lot to think about getting like a second guitar when you are still trying to learn one guitar. So that might be a little more than you're wanting to do, but yeah. You're supposed to press with the tips, right, and not the pads of your fingers. I guess I usually, I think I do with the pads of my fingers a lot. A lot of it is about how you're holding the string in relation to the fret. Because a lot of the reason you're pushing the string down is because since the fret is metal and the strings are metal, it just kind of makes it to where it cuts off to where the string is playing from where that fret is. So a lot of times when you play guitar, you're trying to put your finger down like just next to the fret, like not like in the middle necessarily, but like kind of right close to the fret. Yeah, you're really just trying to make that note. Like if you're doing a G, in that first G note, third fret, you're just trying to like if you hold the fret like too close to the fret, or like if you're just on the other side of the fret, it'll kind of sound funny. You want it to kind of hold right there and be able to kind of ring out a little bit. It might even be good if you're trying to learn the chord shapes, is like you could kind of make the G and just try to hold it, and then don't worry about changing chords, just like hold the chord shape and just kind of get used to the way it feels and how it sounds. Like the difference between a strumming down and then strumming up. Down, 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 up, up, up. Just sounds a little different. Yeah. Drumming is, I mean, you make it sound like there's a lot more to drumming than, I know what you mean, but drums can get complicated too. It might be more about the feeling of it, but I'll respect anybody who can play the drums even sort of good. I wouldn't worry about the rhythm at first, Tim. I think a lot of it is just getting the feel of the way the chords sound and everything. I think I'm probably gonna wrap this up just because I'm over 2 hours and I don't know if I want to do this super late. I'm gonna put this down so I'll actually be able to concentrate. What were we all talking about? Oh, you were the guy like just sitting there like. I remember going into 6th grade. Like 6th grade was when like everybody started playing in band, and like when we would try out for, like, I remember everybody wanted to be like be a drummer in the band, and I remember going to like try out, and the band director was like, do this, like, or whatever rhythm he was doing, and I was like trying to copy him, and like it was always like way off from what he was doing, and yeah, that what I was doing was basically patty cake. But I remember he was not impressed by my rhythm, and he was like, do you think you might want to play trumpet or something else? And I was like, no, I want to play drums. And he was like, okay. And then I ended up, I think over the summer before I went into 6th grade, I changed my mind and just didn't go into band. Yes, paradiddle. Yeah. Yeah, I think some people kind of have a good feel for drumming, and it's tricky. I wish I had better rhythm. Oh, you played the cornet. Is that how you say it? Cornet. I think that's how you pronounce that. I like looking back now. I wish I had just picked up whatever instrument he thought I should play and just learned that. Even just, I think even if I'd done that for just a few years, like I would have a much better understanding of music than I do. Like I didn't really start playing music until I was like 16, and then it was like just trying to learn it as fast as I could. And there's still a lot that I don't know. I wish I knew more. I'm sometimes jealous of people who like kind of grew up like in band or like a choir type thing. I know like some people will be, who are growing up now will be like, I just learned how to play from YouTube or Twitch. I was just watching people play on Twitch, and that's how I learned how to play all my music. All right, y'all. I think I am gonna go ahead and go. I need to like clean all this junk up and go to sleep. But thanks for watching this thing. And if I think of something else to do on the stream, then we can do that later. I'm trying not to laugh like directly into the microphone. If y'all have things you want, maybe I can get a fork next time and do like the fork on the microphone thing. Just whatever people enjoy is I guess what I'm gonna be trying to do. Yeah, I'll play some spoons. Okay, y'all have a good night, and hope you can get to sleep and get some sleep before you have to wake up. All right. Thanks for watching again. I'll see y'all later. Bye.